The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
We live. We live. Yeah.
We doing it. 2, 1, liftoff.
Huh. That rocket's kind of shaped like a...
Dick,
Yeah.
take a look out of starboard.
Oh my God, it looks like a huge...
Wank. Pay attention.
I was distracted by that enormous flying...
One-eyed monster. Step right up and see the one-eyed monster. Ah!
Hey, what's that? It looks like a big...
Willie.
Yeah.
What's that? Well, it looks like a giant...
Penis, the male reproductive organ, also known as tallywhacker, schlong, or...
Sausage. An egg McMuffin.
You're nasty.
That's the show, did it?
The last 7 days have been totally insane, but we made it. Now buckle up and get ready for the most organic conversation on the internet with your hosts, the Force, the King, the Kamikaze, the Great and Terrible. Up to it, down to it. Pour a glass and talk some trash. Welcome to the show, and thank you for tuning in. We hope you have a good time tonight right along with us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell a friend. Let's go up to it.
One more time, y'all. We are back at it again, man. We about to have a good time tonight. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Feels good to not have to worry about whether or not I can still call you that. Welcome one more time. Hey, man, it's real. It's real, man. It's real. It's real. There was a time where I really had to worry. I'm not as worried so much anymore. But neither here nor there. What's up? Welcome to yet another episode, another Friday night with your Friday Night Delights here on Up to It, Down to It, the most organic conversation on the internet. About to have us a good time, man. You got your boy, the Great and Terrible Trey. I am here. I got some stuff for y'all today. Good conversation we about to have. And enough about me. Let's talk about this guy right over here. All right, teacher extraordinary. He's about to give us some good knowledge and good feedback. Looking forward to chopping it up with him tonight. As always, look at my man's he's cultured. He's got chopsticks out here in these streets. Y'all see this? Y'all see this?
Talented, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Everybody.
Where else you gonna go? Where else you gonna go? See cats out here using chopsticks. Kev the Immovable Force, talk to him. My brother.
Chopsticks because I got sushi. You know, the people who know how to use chopsticks think they're better than everybody. Yes, but that's neither here nor there. We here to have some good conversation, get some good drink in the system. My spring concert is out the way, so I can let my shoulders down, relax myself. But I'm actually just coming from the dance. I don't know if it's like a recital or concert or it was an extravaganza. So shout out to my choir students who do dance as well. They had a fantastic program tonight, and now it's time to be a whole adult. So we're ready for some good conversation, some good libation, and some good aviation because we're gonna navigate you all through a fantastic show tonight. You see what I did there with all the rhymes. All right, so the mixed drink, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna stay right here. All right, it's Captain Morgan Private Stock. We're mixing that with a little bit of Coke. You can drink it straight because it's so smooth, but I said I would dilute a smidge. But after my concert, I received this wonderful gift of small batch 1792, which is absolutely fantastic. Man, small batch Kentucky, all right, and it's super smooth. Like when I say super smooth, I mean super smooth. So when we got to put one in the air, we got a little bit of that to go with. Of course, we got, this is a Deer Park gallon of water, okay? All right, and we're about halfway through it for today. Um, but also, have bottles at work too. So I think I've had a good amount of water, but we'll keep drinking it because we're going to be at the gym in the morning. And it's not Aquafina. So as long as it's not Aquafina for you, we're not judging you. Unless Aquafina, y'all ready to pay us, then we can talk about it. Let us know in the comments, within your cup, within your glass. Pour up and enjoy the show with us. The comments were fire a couple weeks ago, so we need that same energy tonight. But I'm looking forward to getting up with you all. So let's do it, man.
Let's damn do it, man. It's gonna be a good one tonight. We action packed tonight, man. Got a lot of we got a lot of things to talk about. We had quite a few things happen over the last couple of weeks. I'm gonna just talk about real quick what I got last time. I am holding it down for the boxed wine cats out here in these streets. We are chilling because we got things to do in the morning, right? Just like you said, I got things to do in the morning, right? So we on the boxed wine tonight. We on the water to stay hydrated. Don't get it twisted, right? And also, shout out to all my leaf users out here, right? Those of y'all who practice a different kind of horticulture, shout out to y'all. Oh man. But we got a lot to bring to y'all tonight, man. It's gonna be a good one. First of all, y'all know we like to start with current events, man, and because we're men, a lot of times we like to start with sports. And what better thing to talk about first off than basketball, as always, man. The Lakers done got eliminated. The Lakers are eliminated from the playoffs. Round one, Shannon Sharpe's prediction, as fun as they were to hear, was totally wrong. The Lakers in 5 thing, you know what I'm saying? Batman, Superman, Iron Man, Lakers in 5. Right? Like all that kind of stuff. But Lakers got eliminated first round, man. Kev, what's your thoughts, man? As our basketball aficionado.
I mean, I'll say this. I thought they did a wonderful job pulling it together to make a strong run towards the end of the season. And yes, they fell into that third seed, which was great for them. But that Minnesota Timberwolves team was hungry and strong. What Dante DiVincenzo did last year with the Knicks, he brought that same energy to Minnesota. And Edwards is like ready to have the torch passed to him. So he showed up in ways that was absolutely insane. And as much as I don't care for Rudy Gobert as a player, I think the number of defensive awards he's gotten is a bit overrated. But he did his big one in this closing game, which lets you know that the Lakers do need to prioritize getting some size in the off season. And as we found out today, LeBron had an MCL sprain, grade 2, which is pretty significant. It takes about 3 to 5 weeks to recover. And he's like one of the most, physically well put together people we know, person who takes care of their body. So I'm sure he'll have no issues. But yeah, the Lakers just got to address some things in the off season. Teams are getting younger. They're getting deeper, and the teams we see going a little further and playing a little better are much deeper teams. So I know JJ Redick took a chance on playing his starters for a significant amount of minutes, but you have to have some depth in order to go far, and that proves to be the difference in this series. So, I mean, listen, shout out. I'm not one of those people. Shout out to LeBron. Everybody's like, well, why didn't he do? No, 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 no. Listen, that man's 22 seasons in. It's got to be about other people. He's going to do what he does, but it's got to be about other people at this point. And I think that was the whole point of bringing Luka in. So to see what he's done this year has been unlike anything we've ever seen before. Because other players who did 22 years in the league averaged less than 5 points a game. So to be still a 20 plus point scorer, 5 plus assists, 5 plus rebounds. Like it's unlike anything we've seen. So shout out to him on a terrific season, and I'm sure they'll regroup and pull it together in the off season.
Does LeBron hang him up after the season?
Absolutely not. He's up for he could opt in 56 mil, but he's not going to do that. Bronny's there on a 4-year deal, so I fully expect LeBron to opt out, take less so that they can go find some pieces to put around them. Size and shooting. Those are the two things. Your Luka's up for an extension. Austin Reeves is up for an extension, so they got to take care of them. But they got to get some size, got to get some shooting around them, and you need money in order to do that. So he'll less. He's playing with his son. He's extremely happy about that. and bring the people in so that he can pursue that fifth championship. So that's what I expect to
Yeah. And now that he's out, or not he, now that the Lakers are out, who you got coming out of the West, and
happen.
then who you have coming out of the East?
I actually think it's going to be Oklahoma City coming out the West. The way they dismantled. They did, and Cleveland did on the East. But the depth that Oklahoma City has, the youth, they're like the youngest team playing the best basketball. And Shea Gilgis Alexander, SGA, is going to be MVP. And if he's not, it's highway robbery. I love Jokic, but like, come on, man. To be the number one seed and to lead your team like that, it just speaks volumes to the type of season that he's having. So I got OKC coming out the West, and in the East, I hate to say it, but it's probably going to be Boston again. But Cleveland will probably give them a run for their money. I expect that series to be good, but I would love to see an OKC Boston finals just for the matchups. You got two 7-footers who stretch the floor.
Yeah.
Defend, and Chet Holmgren and Porzingis. You got some real star power. You got some great defenses, and really deep teams. So I think that would be a terrific final. Tonight, though,
SGA's been arriving. SGA been arriving for a while, man.
for sure.
He's been making his ascent for I'd probably say the last 2-3 seasons.
He's from the Chris Paul school of understudies.
Yeah, yeah. He's doing well, man. Big shout out to OKC. We'll see. We'll go with your prediction as the official prediction right now, just because honestly I haven't looked enough into it. I am one of those people that I won't say that walked away from the NBA. I didn't walk away from it. I'd just be too busy, man. So as much as I want to keep up with it, I'm not able to as much. So we'll leave your prediction as our official prediction. We got OKC versus Boston in the finals. There it is. There it is. Place your bets. Place your bets. Not really,
Yeah,
because we
yeah.
don't. If you lose
Tonight,
one,
though,
it's on you.
is Golden State and Houston in a game 6, and they've been Dylan Brooks been swatting at Steph Curry's hand, man. I feel like because they in the Bay Area tonight, Steph about to do something crazy. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Are you surprised to see this go to 6 games?
No, because Houston is a great team, and it's kind of same story about OKC. They're young in their core, but they have some good veterans around them. They're a gritty group of people. The Thompson twin is going to be first team all defense, and was up for most improved player as well. Dylan Brooks, for as dirty as he can be, he's still a great defender and can score. You got players around them. Like, they're a deep team, so I'm not surprised that it went 6. But the addition of Jimmy Butler to Golden State just made them a 7th seed that ain't really a 7th seed. They if he had gotten there earlier, they'd have probably been 2 to 3 seed. So
Yeah, I was thinking top 3. Yeah,
it's just a hard matchup for Houston.
Yeah. That's what it is. We'll leave that there for right now, just for the sake of moving on, because we got a lot to cover. Switching sports real quick, we got to go to football. Last weekend, the NFL draft was not without its controversy. Shout out to all the players that got drafted, of course, but the highlight, the conversation, the narrative, everything that everybody was talking about surrounding the draft was around one Shedeur Sanders, who fell from what we expected to be maybe a top 10, top 15 pick, certainly a first round pick, who slid all the way down to the 5th round. And there was a big discussion as to why that might have been. I have my thoughts, but I want to hear from you. Why do you think Shedeur slid as far as he did, and what's your reaction in general to the draft?
So if we're talking general reaction, then we'll go with the numbers. In that this was the most watched draft in their history, and it's because everybody wanted to see where Shedeur was going to go. So if I'm a conspiracy theorist, I'm going to say they let him drop because that kept people watching the draft. Because of course, if he goes in the top five, then you got your answer and you don't really need to pay attention no more. In general, this was not a really deep draft, not all that talent. I won't say not talented, but it just like the cachet of players this year didn't look like last year with especially with the quarterbacks and receivers that went last year. It just wasn't that. So they needed something to spice this up, and who better than a Sanders? So if I'm on a conspiracy side, I'm gonna say they let him fall because the team he's with now is where he was going to go. For that reason. Now on the other side of that, and I know people are screaming racism. I'm not gonna say that. It's not that. Now, what I will call it though is ignorance. And here's my reason why. Um, Lord, it's not Jimmy Clausen. Well, that's a name that comes to mind. Tim Tebow is a name that comes to mind. Like if you watched Tim Tebow at Florida, yes, they won, but wasn't nobody sitting there saying Tim Tebow is going to be like the Pat Mahomes of that time or the Ben Roethlisberger of that time. Like he was a real big quarterback who could run the ball and found a way with that ugly form to get the ball out there. And that man went in the first round. And here we are talking about the most accurate quarterback in all of college football, which most of what he did in terms of accuracy was with a offensive line who let him get beat TF up on a regular basis. He took more sacks than any quarterback in college football and still managed to have a damn near 80% completion rating, and of course people nitpick and say, well, it was close to the line of scrimmage. Well, if I have 1 second to pass the ball, it ain't but so many places I could put it before I get knocked out. So the fact that he can handle himself under pressure says to me like this is a quarterback that I can rely on. Now, I will concede that like some of his decision making is questionable, but I liked, and I can't think of who it was. One of the people said this is a quarterback who's not going to lose you games. So if he turns out to be Kirk Cousins, cool. Kirk Cousins was winning you 10, 12 games a year, and he wasn't losing you games. He was a good game manager. So for that reason alone, I felt like Shedeur should have went a little higher. Like people chose to nitpick him after the fact. And that's the one part that bothers me. I heard about his interviews and all of those kinds of things. I'm not mad at a person who has the utmost confidence in themselves, even if it lends itself to arrogance. Like you're playing with grown men who are going to talk trash to you, who are going to try to get inside your head. You got to have a confidence about yourself. You got to know, what I'm saying, good, bad, or ugly, that you are the best person out there. And that's the way I feel like he carries himself. So I'm a little disappointed, but he got drafted and he got his time to prove himself. So I'm just hoping that he continues to grow, continues to learn, and does prove people wrong.
Well, he's in Cleveland, so he's definitely going to get an opportunity.
18 quarterbacks, so
Yeah.
give 7 minutes and see what happens.
Right. So he'll definitely get his shot, and I like Shedeur, and I want to preface everything I'm about to say with that. I like Shedeur. I think he plays well. I like his competitive nature. Love his completion percentage, stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, is he going to start for your franchise? Is he going to uh or is he going to be a solid backup? Again, is he going to be Kirk Cousins, like you said? And if he's going to be Kirk Cousins, do you use first round draft pick money on a Kirk Cousins?
You use 5 years, so maybe not because,
Okay,
of course, the rookie deal is a good deal, a great deal, but
very much.
round gives you a fifth year. So if he was solid at best, you have a solid quarterback for 5 years, opposed to 3 or 4 for where he got drafted. Now, if he exceeds that, his contract expires sooner, and you gotta now pay this man more earlier when you could have had an extra year or two to build around him and keep it moving. So it's a gamble.
Yeah, I feel like it's a gamble either way. And unfortunately, I think that's the reason why he was taken so low, because it is a gamble either way. You know what I mean? And I don't, with all the stuff. Again, I heard about his interviews. I don't think it's racism either. I think that's a ridiculous narrative. But because again, the number one draft pick was a cat named Cam Ward, black quarterback, number one draft pick overall. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a ridiculous narrative personally. But when you look at like Cam Ward's probably probably going to start. You know what I'm saying? First round draft pick quarterback's probably going to start, rookie contract or otherwise, probably going to start. Right? Is he going to start? Out the gate for his franchise. Maybe, maybe not. Now, to be honest, a lot of great quarterbacks, in fact, most great quarterbacks don't come out of the first round. So that's kind of like a historical advantage, I think, for Shedeur. Most great quarterbacks don't come out of the first round. We all know about Tom Brady coming in the seventh round, right? Russell Wilson was in like the third round. Kirk Cousins, I don't even remember where they got Kirk Cousins from. Fourth round. Okay, yeah, word. You know what I'm saying? So, um, you know, you can get somebody that's a solid quarterback in a lower round and test them out if you're not sure that this is the person that's going to lead your franchise. And I just think, while I do like his overall confidence, I think the question is, if he's going to start and lead your franchise immediately coming out the gate, what kind of mindset does he have? Like, is he focused on football? Right, like Cam Ward. There's a video that went around where I think Shedeur was trying to get Cam Ward to make a TikTok with him or something like that, and Cam Ward was like, "I play football. I just play football." And Shedeur was like, "You don't do nothing else but that." And Cam Ward like, "I just play football. I want people to know me as a football player." But I mean, if I'm an NFL franchise and I compare the two, you don't want your franchise to rebuild, don't pick me, or all I do is play football. If I'm looking at the person that's going to turn my franchise around, I'm probably going to go with an attitude similar to a Cam Ward and not so much the attitude similar to a Shedeur. Again, nothing against them, but if I'm going to, again, go first round draft pick, leverage first round draft pick money, I want the guy who's focused on the team, on the franchise, on the game, on winning. Now I don't want nobody with an on and off button. I need somebody with an on button. You know what I'm saying? Especially if I'm really trying to turn the franchise around. So, I think that also, I don't think he did himself any favors, in the way he carried himself. Not, with all the, all the TikTok stuff, all the rap stuff, and you can do your thing. I ain't mad at you. And his daddy did the same thing. I get that too. But I just don't think he did himself any favors. You know what I mean?
And that part I can understand. I will say that there's some double standard to that, and that we heard some people say, "Oh, well, he didn't throw at the combine, or he didn't do this, or he didn't do that." It's been a ton of players who didn't run their 40, didn't do whatever, and it's a grain of salt to it, because like, even with that, sometimes teams get too excited about combine numbers, like when it's just
Yeah.
you're running a straight line. But you know what I'm saying, the likes of Larry Fitzgerald wasn't the fastest runner, but you were sure enough going to respect what he did on the field, because he could run routes, and you know what I'm saying, like, he was a dog on the field. So like, if I feel like my game tape has said enough about me, I may not be interested in the combine, because of course then if I don't meet your numbers, now I'm dropping just because of this, you know what I'm saying, this moment in time. So like, players make decisions all the time, even on the NBA side. Like, there are plenty of people who won't do combines because they're like, my college tape should have been enough. My overseas tape should have been enough. Like, okay, so I'm not a 40-inch vertical jumper, but like, I led the NCAA in scoring, or assists, or rebounds, or block shots. Like, so like, discounting him for that when plenty of other people didn't. That part bothered me.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. I can understand that for sure. I will say that Yeah, for the most part, I agree. I think when you're going for, even though it's the NFL and this, we talking about millionaires in this case or future millionaires in this case, it's still a job. You know what I mean? And you still have to interview for the position that you want. I mean, in the end, it's a job, and you have to interview for the position that you want. So, you might not like, for example, that when you go interview somewhere, you got to put on a suit and tie, all that kind of stuff. You might don't like that, but that's what you got to do if you want to get the job. Like that's just, you know what I'm saying? So there's certain things that you still have to do in order to get the job that you want. And like, again, wow, yeah, his numbers. I I don't know too many players who had the those numbers should be, or what you saw then should be enough. That went too high. I can't think of any off the top of my head. Maybe you can, but I can't think of any that had that kind of attitude that went high and did well in the league. Oh, and whether NFL or NBA, and particularly NFL though, the ones that did that had that attitude and did well. A lot of people compared him to Baker Mayfield and Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel, right? Understood. I understand. But what happened to them? Like, were they did their careers prove to be that they were first round draft pick worthy and everybody shouldn't have passed on them? No. And Baker Mayfield plays for my team. You know what I'm saying? Right? Like, I'm just we got to keep it a buck, call it what it is. Like, Baker Mayfield, even from a Tampa Bay fan perspective, was not necessarily first round draft pick worthy. At least he hasn't shown that yet. Right? So is it worth that gamble, that level of gamble? It's a gamble anyway, I get it. But is it worth that, for somebody you're not too sure about that has a similar attitude and behavior as people who didn't go but so far in the league?
Only time will tell, right?
True. True. We got a celebrity back in the building, man. Right on time, right on time. Because I got something just for you, my dog. Just for you. Y'all know about some of the stuff that's going on down in your area. So I'm gonna get to that. That is the wrong window. We live. Hold on. I clicked the wrong window, y'all. My fault. Hold on. My bad. We are all the way live. All right, bet. He's back. The inspirational King Rich is in the building, baby. Yes, sir.
What up? We live.
Order coming through loud and clear, my boy. Good.
All I gotta say,
good, brother,
because I've been listening in, man. All I gotta say to that is, how was he on the field and how was he in the locker room? I mean, come on. How was he on the field? How was he in the locker room? Is he gonna make your organization better, or is he gonna hinder your organization? That's all I gotta say. I'm talking about Shedeur, right? Because everybody's gonna come with their type of swag. Everybody's gonna come with their type of attitude. But how is he on the field? How is he in the locker room? And how is he gonna affect your organization? So people have their opinions about how his attitude is. But is it really what that's being portrayed, or is the media spinning, or is it being is it not really what it seems? I don't know. But again, those questions are: how is he on the field? How is he in the locker room? And how does he affect your organization for the better or for the worse? So, but what's going on, everybody? I'm in the building. I'm tired as I don't know what, but we here, we live. Let's get it in. Y'all been talking. And that's great. Y'all touched on a few things. The basketball world, that's Kev's realm. We started talking about football. That's what's up. Oh, did you also, speaking of Shedeur, right? And then the other cat, I forgot his name, but it seems like they gave up, more. They gave up more money into the draft and essentially lose out on millions of dollars. But here's the thing, because people were talking about that. But here's the thing: we're talking about the long haul, right? The long term. They're entering into the NFL, in which they can now establish themselves and potentially go the long haul. So yes, absolutely. If I was in their shoe, I would definitely hold off on the what do they call that? The instant gratification, right? To build, my career. They're betting on themselves to build a lasting, legacy in the NFL. So if I was in their shoes, I would have did the same thing. So anyway, let me get to the rest of my introduction. I just wanted to throw that in there. I really listen. It's been a week. Okay, it's been a week. More and more, it just seems like I'm getting busier and busier. Anybody else feel like that? It's just busy, busy, busy. Life keeps lifing. Okay. And I think what you got to do is you got to adapt to the situation. I know I've said this before. You got to make a plan, and you got to keep changing up your plan, adapting to that plan. You got to keep doing what you're doing. I've said it before. You got always do more than what you get paid for. But in that, you can't just do that just to be doing it willy nilly. No, you got to have a game plan to get into a better situation. And to do what's best for you and your family. So, with that being said, let's get into what I'm sipping on. I picked this up. This is Madly Mango. This is a 16% wine that I picked up, tried it out, and it's not bad at all. It's not bad at all. It is a little bit too sweet for my palate, but I like a little bit of sizz as well, a little bit of fizz. So I go ahead and boop, put that ginger ale in there, and makes for a nice concoction. So the last thing I'm gonna mention is this new body butter that I picked up. Some of you may have seen it, some of you may not have, but this Crown Skin right here, this King body butter. Let me tell you something. This is the truth. Okay. This is the truth, at least for me. Okay. It mixes well with my pheromones and aura and all of that. And let's just say nobody's disappointed. Neither me or the wife is disappointed. Okay. So do yourself a favor. All right. And go pick you up. They got the King body butter, and they got four other body butters from Crown Skin. The next one I'm gonna pick up is that Rain. It's called Rain. I'm gonna pick that one up. Rain body butter. So, all right. With all that being said, let's get into it. These guys was already giving it to you, so I'm just number 3 coming in and give it to you some more. So, what's good with the bros?
We're not getting paid for advertisements, by the way. That's right. That's not good. The advertisements going to be when we get paid for
Yeah, I'm just saying. Listen, we some true brothers. We gonna tell you what we like. All right, we
Yeah,
gonna be
right.
real with y'all.
Putting y'all up on game.
Straight
You
up.
know, black on, by the way, black on.
Winner, winner. And apparently the wife is not disappointed.
I'm just saying.
What more could we ask for?
What more can I say?
That's what it is, man. That's good. Good stuff. Yes, sir. Um, so the PGDC area, let's move on real quick. The PGDC area is having a bit of a renaissance. The Washington D.C. area RFK Stadium is getting the Washington Commanders back.
Okay, first of
And
all,
also, in order to
say it
do
right.
that,
The
they
Redskins Stadium is getting a remake. Okay,
yeah,
say
yeah,
it
I'm
right.
gonna get to that. Yes, RFK Stadium's getting a remake. DC's getting the team back. RFK's getting the remake. It's gonna be dope. We should talk. We're gonna talk about that.
Come
But
on.
in order to do that, they had to sacrifice Six Flags. Not really. The two aren't actually linked. But the reality is that also Six Flags had to get shattered, had to get shut down. Also,
Yeah.
unfortunately, this is their last season. November 2nd, I think, is the last time that they'll be open. Your thoughts on both?
Well, I mean, I'm surprised Six Flags has still been in business around this area as long as it has. So I'm not surprised. you know, eh, it hasn't been the same since it was Great Adventures, Wild World. Like
Yeah, Adventure World. Yeah.
it just hasn't been the same. So I'm surprised it's taken this long for them.
Well, teenagers still exist. That's I mean it's and that's it. Like as long as you got a bus route to it, and you got teenagers, so it was always going to be there. It's the issue, which we know all too well, is the like the fights got out of control. They had imposed a curfew on it, and some rules around supervision and all of that, and it just didn't seem to do it. And it's disheartening because the less options that our young kids have, the more likely they are to find themselves in trouble. So like that, I think that aspect of it is a bit disappointing. I know, of course, the vast majority of their employees were teenagers. It was one of them jobs that like most of my friends had when we were in high school. They worked at Six Flags. We pull up to Six Flags. They tell you what station that they at. They hook you up. You know what I'm saying? Because the food was overpriced, the drinks were overpriced, that kind of thing. And I mean, they were trying everything they could. I know at a point they started serving alcohol, which was unheard of for the amusement park. Um, yeah, so I mean, it's sad to see it go. I think the other side of it that's going to piss me off is, of course, once they level everything, it's going to turn into more grass wall restaurants and more unnecessary townhomes that we don't need. So
Yeah, we say that. You say that till all them people move in.
I mean, they will,
Yeah.
but don't we have a bunch of boarded up houses and like properties that need? Yeah, yeah.
That's a whole different discussion right there.
Whole
That's
different.
a
Whole,
whole
whole
different
different.
discussion right there.
Whole different. But as far as the the Redskins Stadium go, it's about time, man. Um, it's about time. Uh, you know, I've it's gonna be I mean that's prime real estate in my opinion. It's prime real estate with Metro, with access to 295, with just the community as a whole. Like that property value is going to be insane. Like I mean, it's already insane, but like if there was ever a time not to sell, to hold on just a little while longer, like this is it. Because it's about to get out of control, especially with Airbnb type of opportunities and um yeah, like it's about time. The only thing that I would wish is that they keep um keep a lot of the traditional listen, even if they don't technically go back to the name, okay? It's the name. Get out of here. It's the Redskins. But I definitely want to see like the history like plastered all over that bad boy, all over the stadium, all over the street, all over the town, and really just do it up like all the way. If you're gonna do it all the way. Do it till you're satisfied. All right. Go big, go home. All right. Don't go shallow, go deep. Like all the above. Yeah.
All of that. Yeah, I agree with all of that for real. Shout out to the Redskins. Like I said, it didn't feel right me saying Washington Commanders because I've always said that I'm not calling them the Commanders. I reject that name. But I'm not a fan, so whatever. People can do what you want. But I
Cardiac
will say,
Commanders this year, man. It had a nice ring to it.
yeah. Y'all did y'all thing this year. I gotta give you credit. I gotta give you credit. I will say, um, the best thing is, in addition to the real estate part or the location part about it, is I hear they're planning to build a glass dome on the stadium, making them now viable for events like the Super Bowl and WrestleMania. You know, two things that would be huge revenue drivers, to be honest. Um, and then if you compare that, I wanted to say also with Six Flags, going over to that, all those things that y'all mentioned was a problem. What I found out in my research was that um, the Six Flags company, Six Flags Entertainment, and the was it Cedar, the company that owns Cedar Point. All right, they had a merger last year, and that company also owns King's Dominion, which, as y'all know, is about an hour and a half or so from PGDC, right? Um, Apparently, those two are competitors, right? And they compete for the same market, right? Same attendance, so on and so forth. And so now that there's a merger and they're looking at what assets perform better, right? Six Flags, in comparison, had a lower price point, but also a smaller park and much lower attendance. I think it was 9.3 million people third quarter 2023, 9 million or so people, whereas Kings Dominion had a higher price point, bigger parks, and a better reviews, to be honest, overall, and over a little over uh, 12 million attendees. So 3 million more people went to the bigger park and spent more money, right? So basically, it was a financial move more than anything else. It was, Six Flags wasn't cutting the mustard as far as attendance is concerned, and probably all those things you mentioned earlier, Kev, the bus route, the propensity for some unsavory groups to show up, right? The reputation of it being ghetto, the reputation of rides being down and long wait times and overpriced food and all those other kinds of things. So, unfortunately, um, it made sense to sacrifice Six Flags, and hey man, maybe they can go work. I mean, it's gonna be a few years, but maybe they can go work down at the new stadium. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to get to. Just get to the train, and if you get to any train and you're there, you're good. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just my thoughts. All right, cool. Well, that's that for the intro. That's the longest intro ever. Let's get to some either ors. I'm ready to take a few shots, man. I don't know about y'all, but I'm ready to take a couple shots, couple drinks. All right. So
We make the transition. Shout out to kickoff for the WNBA, the start of preseason. Chicago Sky playing Brazil, like Brazil, right now. And for all the jokes about Angel Reese last year, one, she's working on her game in the off season, and she looks good. Of course, Kelly Van Lith is there. Now Camila Cardoso, so they're doing their big one. Yeah, just shout out, yeah, because we watch sports.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we do want the WNBA to do well. I do, seriously. I think we all agree. Like, we do want the WNBA to do well. So yeah, check them out for sure. For sure. I'm glad to hear Angel Reese is working on her game.
She got with Lisa Leslie, man.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, Lisa Leslie said she wanted to help her, and she took the criticism and put her head down, and they've been working all off the you can already see the fruits of the labor.
Yeah. It's awesome, man. Cool. All right, bet that. Well, let's get to this. Let's get to this little video real quick. Well, a couple of videos real quick. This is where we choose. This is where we decide. All right. So we're gonna figure out which one of these videos we're gonna react to and take a drink to. We're gonna be up to it or down to it. Here we go. LFG. Dad takes his son to prom. Or Damon Wayans talks about the greatest gift his father gave. We're gonna keep it in the data sphere right now. Keep it in the
greatest gift
father roles right now.
was.
What are y'all thoughts here? Kev, you're making a face. They can't see you, but I can see you. They see you making a face.
So I mean, I can't. I think I want to see the greatest gift just because I can't remember it. Like the other one, I can vividly remember, but I can't place the greatest gift video. So I'm curious about that one.
Yeah, that's the one I'm leaning towards because I'm like, was what? Yeah, that's the one I'm leaning towards.
The cliffhanger game is real. The cliffhanger game is strong. All right, so we're on the greatest gift. I have to say I agree with the greatest gift move. Damn, hold on, Rich. I gotta add you to the other scene. Hold on a second. Hang on. But yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, we live, damn it. We live.
We live.
All the way. I want to say though, because we're not gonna really get into it. But just looking at the meme here, right? I do want to say that couldn't be me, yo.
Oh, you talking about that clip?
I couldn't do it. I don't think I'd be able to do that. Shout out to bro, because I don't big shout out to bro, because I don't think I could do that.
I did learn the backstory. Like from what I understand, the father was or is Muslim, and of course, like they ain't having no parts of it. And so like this was just a very like big step for him to like even show up, and then more so than that, escort the kid to prom. So definitely shout out to him. Like I struggle because I know how I'm raising my son. But of course we can do everything we can, and people still make their own decisions. You know, I I struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see myself. I don't see myself doing it. 'Cause I just feel like if I agree, then I agree. If I don't agree, I don't agree. So, and of course, people gonna make their own decisions. And it's hey, if that's what you want to do, then hey, that's you. I mean, because I'm not one. It's not gonna affect me either way. Okay, because if you want to be over there
Right.
doing what you're going to do, great. I'm gonna be over here having a beer. So,
All right, man. See you later.
So yeah, that's that.
No dispute on this end. No dispute on this end. All right, cool. Without further ado, let's get to it. Let's find out what the greatest gift was.
The greatest gift
my father ever gave us was coming home.
Damn, that's deep.
Because my mother didn't make it easy. He was a dumb MFer and all kind of stuff because he did, she wanted stuff in life. Like new underwear, like stuff she couldn't just little stuff, makeup and get a hair, couldn't do it. But he came home, humble, Sometimes he had to tell her there ain't no food. What? Mr. Provider, you ain't got no food. And you trying to tell me what to do? Yeah, so but that was the gift. That's like, you come home. It doesn't feel good, but
So he's working 3 jobs. He has to provide for this family. And when he gets home, your mom doesn't make it easy. And I think Marlon said he could have easily understood if Pop would have checked out. Cause it wasn't easy.
We used to say, what, hit her or something.
Damn.
I ain't lying. God damn. My father, he never would like cuss at her.
Really?
Yeah, my father when she died, he was ready to go. I miss her. I miss my gal. What? When he used to cut you out, you miss
Yeah.
every day.
You got peace now. You ain't got nobody cursing you.
I miss my gal.
Damn.
He was just ready to go. Check, please. But that's like he taught us love. like unconditional love. You know, he always saw her as the 16-year-old he fell in love with.
Ooh.
You know, that's beautiful.
Wow.
Man.
Wow. Lot of no, we're not watching that. Lot of layers to that. Lot of layers to that. Thoughts. Kev, let's start with you on this one. What are your thoughts?
Sorry, it's a terrible call. Uh, that's that's powerful. He sounds like Job. that that kind
Yeah.
of that kind of patience is Job like. But I think it's what he said. You know, I think it speaks to the Corinthians kind of love. That keeps no record of wrongdoing. Um, so when we talk about like long term commitments and understanding and loving the way that God loves us, it's in spite of a lot of the things that we got with us. So I guess it's just a powerful testament to hear, and especially with them saying like even it's like as the children they'd have been like, hey, if you want, we'd understand it. Like when a lot of kids just want to see their parents stay together, they want to that kind of thing. Like they understood it. Um, so yeah, it just it's powerful.
Yeah.
I think he was the right one for her. I think he was the right one for her. And because I mean, listen, I'm I'm not going to sit here and say what he did is the blueprint for all. What I'm going to say is he was the type of man that was just right for her. The type of man that was just right for her. Okay? Because if it was somebody else, they probably would have checked out. That probably would have. I mean, just I'm thinking about their family as a whole and how many of them it was like, and he had 3 jobs and like and then just like how society is set up, and it's like 3 jobs. I hear you got 3 jobs and you still can't. It's still a struggle. Like yeah, these things happen. Like and that struggle is still happening, but it's like some people can handle certain situations or need that certain person in their life. He obviously needed her and she needed him because that could have gone a totally different way. It could have gone a totally different way. And you know, I'm glad that that he was who he was for her, and she was who she was for him. Because hearing, I've heard the different stories from from the Wayne's children, and they have different things that they picked up from their mom or from their dad, and it's like that made them who they were. That made them that you know gave each of them they picked those different things from it. So but yeah, you know he was right. He was right for her, and she was obviously right for him. So hey, who am I can't knock it.
Say
Hey,
hitter.
Once again, I say it couldn't be me. Could, couldn't be me. Rich is right, man. That's right. That's the right. She had the right one because nah, man. There is something to be said about being fiercely loyal in your marriage, though. You know what I mean? Like we talk about it a lot. When we say, or I say specifically, that when you get married, it's you know richer for poor, better or for worse, sickness and in health until death, right? And hey, he said, when he said, "I want you to be the one that I go through all these trials and tribulations with until death do us part." Apparently, he meant it. You know, like he's one of them. You know who you married kind of thing. My wife says it all the time, and I say it about her also. I know who I married, right? And hey, I will say that a greater lesson is that when you have that's your one, right? You got the one that's your one. You're not gonna be so quick to just let that go. And when they go, when that time comes, not God forbid, but unfortunately, but inevitably, when that time comes and they're gone, that leaves a void. When you're truly committed to that person. You know what I mean? And and especially if you know that person is truly committed to you. Too. So, I mean, she might not. My point is, she might not have made it easy for him, but she was committed enough to him, and she was, his person. So, it couldn't be me dealing with that, or his account of that, I should say. But I know who I married. I wouldn't have done that. But shout out to him for doing that. And, regardless of what the outlook was, he stayed until the end. That's, yeah, like you said, man, it's powerful. I agree. Let us know your thoughts in the comments also.
Talk to us. Come and talk to us.
Oh, you know what we forgot to do? We got to drink. Got to take I did drink, but like I forgot to officially.
Like an actual.
That's what it is. What it is.
That is good. Man,
We're gonna have to try that, man. We got to do an in person one soon. I know that we're gonna do an in person one. Don't worry, guys. We're gonna do an in person one because I need to try that stuff right there.
that is, oh my God, smooth. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I understand why it's small batch like that. You can't just mass produce that kind of excellence. That's legit.
That's quality that takes time.
Just in case you missed this part, it's small batch 1792. And just it's named in honor of the year Kentucky joined the United States. In its honor.
Yeah, we giving y'all relationship tips. We giving you good products and even history lessons out here in these streets. Yeah, man. Look, this is what it is, man.
You preaching better than y'all saying amen.
Preaching better than y'all saying amen. Don't make us go to the organ. Don't make us go to the organ. All right. Not yet. But you're gonna want to probably grab your drinks for this one. I saw this one out and about scrolling, and I had my thoughts on what he said. But what I noticed was that a lot of women were offended by what this man said. I'm going to play for you what he said, and we can talk about it. But a lot of women were offended, and I have to be honest. Personally, I'm confused as to why. So I'm gonna grab my matter of fact. I'm gonna grab my greenery too. Let's have us a discussion, y'all.
I was tired. I was in a season where God said, just be ready for your wife. So I went to this concert. I was invited, and long story short, as I sat there, he gave all of his background singers an opportunity to get a piece of the song. So
Yeah.
two of them stuck out to me. One guy's name was Chris, and then the other was Kanita. And so afterwards, I'm thinking in my mind initially, if they ever come back to Detroit, I might need them in the studio, might work on some records. So I introduced myself to the both of them, and after that, I left. And so when I introduced myself to Kanita, I didn't want to be the typical dude off the street, let me
Tryna
get your
holler.
number in
Yeah,
church, what
yeah.
I'm saying? So I just made it simple. I said, you know what, if you're on Facebook, I'll connect with you there. If you, on social media, I'll leave it there. If it's more, cool. If it's not, cool.
So hold on, but so you was open to more.
I was open to more, but it wasn't my initial
original intent.
Yeah, see, I was in that time, even though God showed me her, I was still walking according to my preference. I liked light-skinned, long hair, petite models, all that crazy nonsense. I like what I want.
Yeah.
And so the Lord had to show me that that's where I was at. I was
We're sick people. We're working for the future, because working for the present, we ain't making no progress.
All right, well, fellas.
Did I miss the offense?
So where?
Oh, so you don't know either? Okay.
What was the flag? What was the?
Ladies, y'all might gotta help us out in the comments. Speaking of which, hold on. I don't know. I'm gonna pull up some of the comments that I saw on the video. Maybe that'll help provide a bit of context.
I'm
I don't
a
know.
little lost here because
I'm actually looking for the offense. So somebody let me know.
I don't know. Maybe because he wasn't chasing her, but then at the same time, they don't want guys to be like just hollering at them, or was he wrong for having a preference in the beginning, or
probably,
or for not like seeing her as the one and only? So okay, that's how do.
I'm genuinely confused.
All right, so here's a comment. Here's a comment. So this says, unfortunately, there are a lot of tolerance wives out here. What's a tolerance wives?
And
A tolerance wife.
They weren't even married. Tolerance for what?
I mean, I'm confused. Like it seemed to me that people were upset that he went against his normal preference. Black women, you have been conditioned for years that as long as you're picked by a man, as long as you're picked by a man, you're that man's preference. A lot of men settle and look for placeholders with women they can suck resources, labor, and sex from, while still looking for their preferences. They will get with women they can tolerate, marry, buy assets, and have children with them, all the while they are building themselves up for the women they actually want to be with. That's one of the comments on the.
But did he say any of
that? That sounded like.
Did he say any of that? Was there? Was there like, was he signing something different than what was coming out of his mouth?
Wow.
Because I feel like we're all allowed, like everybody has a thing that they're attracted to. But, of course, if we get out of our like carnal selves, you can discover that the thing that you thought you wanted is not the thing that's best for you, which to me sounds like conscious thought and greater appreciation.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would say that once you get past the, I don't even want to call it surface level, but once you get past what you thought you wanted or knew, right? We get in our own minds and say, "Oh, this is it," you know. And you don't actually know what it is you need until you actually find what it is you need. Forget the want. There's a difference between want and need. And so once you find what you need, then you realize the
Well,
folly of your ways.
well.
You realize what you want wasn't what you needed all along. But you know what? He's wrong for mine, I guess. Or he's wrong for whatever reason that they want to dig to just make it wrong. I She didn't seem unhappy to me. And she also seemed like she knew, like they had discussed, like she knew what his preference was. She knew these things about him. They had this discussion. She seemed like she could have told the story herself.
There's nothing
Their
to be upset
journey was
about.
not a fairy tale. That's what I'm gonna say. Their journey was not a fairy tale. Their journey seems like it was real life and it happened their way. The situation, it was, listen, I'm just saying, ain't no fairy tale. Somebody, what? He only likes me and only me. You mean to tell me you gonna find a man that likes you and only you since the day he was born, and you were the only one that he's ever even looked at? Like,
Of
is that what
course,
you're trying to say?
of course.
That's why the saying goes that single women keep women single. Because that's foolishness. That's foolishness. That's foolishness. He basically is saying that he listened, he followed God on his decision on who to marry. He thought it was going to be one person or one type of person. It turned out to be a different type of person. He thought it was going to be one. God said, nope, not that one, this one. And he listened. And like you said, she ain't mad. She at least don't seem like it. Time will tell, of course, right? But we don't know what goes on behind closed doors in real life. But based on that, 73-second clip, she don't seem she don't exactly seem to be, you know,
Based on all that
upset.
giggling going on and smiling.
Yeah, yeah. She ain't worried. She ain't concerned. She happy. She happy he picked him. Oh, that make her a pick me, don't it? But your ass ain't get picked though.
Purpose to get picked, I thought because you either
That's
pick
that's
or you.
it. I'm not like you shouldn't be like, just doing whatever, to get picked. But I mean, if you're with somebody, you should probably take under advisement what type of things they like and what type of things they want, and do those things to the absolute best of your ability. And they'll either say, "Yep, that's good enough," or "Nope, that's not good enough." I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Like in the end, it's a job interview. You got to do what you got to do to get the job.
You're not being hired.
You're being drafted. You're being drafted. You know what I'm saying? You're being drafted. You're being selected. The number 1 overall pick is my wife. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you mess around, don't find your wife till the 5th, 6th round. Okay, all right. Sometimes you build your franchise around the wrong draft pick. Okay. But sometimes you do build your franchise around the wrong draft pick. I'm just saying. I'm preaching better than y'all saying amen.
Yeah, Marcus Russell. Listen, I'm an LSU fan, but I knew that boy wasn't no quarterback.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you mess around, you pick the wrong one. So what I'm saying is it's a draft, right? And if that's what fellas ain't exempt. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we have to show that we're worthy of, coming to your franchise too. You know what I'm saying? Right? I'm just saying. All right, okay, let me stop.
But because it's a draft, some of them don't even be putting in work. They don't go to no workouts. They don't put in no training, but then want to be picked number 1 for the draft. What is that?
That's how they end up sliding down to the 5th round. Okay, all right.
Nah, we're not gonna go down. The expectation.
I'm saying, homie.
Let's talk about it.
I'm saying that's how they slide in the draft. Okay. Okay. Y'all ready for another up to it, down to a segment, another another either or?
We might just have to kind of find my angles, We live.
Word.
I can't get this cooperation to happen. Yes.
Live.
All right, bet. It doesn't matter actually, because you can fix your frame on the next segment. I don't even know why I didn't think about that. That's because I've been drinking. All right. I smoke. I drink. I supposed to stop. I can't. By the way, happy birthday, LB. 21 years in the game.
Baby, 21 years in the game.
Crazy.
Spring 04. High 8.
Yeah. All right, happy birthday, Kev, too.
Shout out to y'all. Yeah, shout out, to all of us. We out here.
Shout out Spring 06 too. Yeah.
Long in the game,
Hey man, we legal. We legal and barely legal out here.
For sure.
All right, man. A or B, black men hate to listen to black women, or good men are invisible.
Do me a favor, don't piss me off.
Let me pour my
man.
What are your thoughts, fellas? And let us know in the comments what you think. A, for black men hate to listen to black women. B, for good men are invisible. Let us know what you think in the comments. Let's go.
This mental health awareness month, yeah? Yeah.
Yeah, is it? I think so.
All right, let's go with good men are invisible.
I'm feeling like B is yeah.
Because also don't piss
Mm.
A is
me off. It's about,
man.
A is gonna piss me off.
True story, actually. I agree. Me too. All right, bet. All right, let's.
Comments are saying B too, so let's
Yeah, we got B in the comments. All right, say let's do it.
Men are invisibilized to the point where the narrative is so big on men that aren't doing what they're supposed to do that the men that do what they're supposed to do, we don't see them or validate their humanity. They don't exist. The men who are doing what they're supposed to do are like the A student in the class full of bad kids, where the teacher say, oh, I'm not worried about you, you the A student, and then they focus on all the kids who aren't doing the right thing. But what they don't realize is that A student didn't eat this morning. That A student needs your individual one-on-one's attention. That A student needs you to realize that even though their grades are good, their mental health is suffering. They need you to connect them to services. They need you to help them see a counselor. Tracy Ellis Ross said this about me. She said, it's funny that I don't have the words to tell you what kind of man that Kier is without comparing it to something bad. That's where we are. And I get it. I get the frustration with men. I get it. I get the historic frustration. Women are doing an amazing job of building a community for each other. Specifically, black women are killing it right now. Black men specifically have a need gap. It's getting bad, and it's going to be an emotional renaissance at some point. And
where do you think you fit into that? Because I think
mother effing forefront.
Yeah, I see it.
Men are this close, so close to this mass emotional breakthrough, and when it happens, it's going to require a lot of society that I don't think we have the fundamental tools to deal with. I appreciate you seeing my humanity, babe. Real talk.
Of course.
I appreciate you seeing me as
baby,
a human.
I knew you
Be a
were
husk.
just a fine man with a bow tie in the club. Like, why you wearing a bow tie in the club?
Because I was working in the community. I had to inspire the men who just got released from prison who I was trying to find jobs for.
But you've been doing this for a really, really, really long
I'm true
time.
to this, man. I
you
ain't
know
new to this. Good men are invisibilized to the point where the narrative is so big on men that aren't doing what they're supposed to do that the men that do what they're supposed to do, we don't see them or validate their humanity. They don't.
I wanted to make sure I played that part again. Also, I'm not sure, is invisibilize the word?
It is today.
He made it one.
Okay. Right.
Kier says it's a word. It's a word.
Word.
Let's go up.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Let's go up to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Rich, why don't you kick this one off?
Man, his analogy of the A student in the classroom, I mean, that's like spot on in my opinion. It's like in your mind, right? You're focused on the problems, the problem childs. You're focused on, oh, they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're all right, you know. But are you even taking the time to like validate the good that's even happening? Taking the time to give those words of affirmation, taking the time to uh, um, um, acknowledge and celebrate. You know, Be- and what's sad is though the squeakiest wheel gets the most attention, right? So sometimes those good deeds get overlooked because they're not necessarily, a good will isn't going to be, squeaking or um rumbling or giving you issues. But the moment that wheel the tire has lost pressure, or the wheel is unbalanced, or your brakes are going out, right? Then you're gonna give it attention. So I think I think he's spot on with that. And I think that the change needs to be like you just recognize. You have to be diligent in recognizing the good. Um, at first, I thought it was going to go another direction. I thought he was saying, and it could have been right interpretations. Um, when it comes to those good men, I wonder if it's society who has placed the bad boys as the catch, as the ones that are the exciting ones, or the ones to be with, or the ones to catch, the ones that um, you're gonna have a good time with. Um, and that's not even that's in my opinion, that's not even true. Because that same good guy, that good man, can be adventurous, can be outgoing, can be, j- better, right? Better than the bad guy. So, yeah, I thought he was spot on. I thought he was spot on.
Hmm. Hmm.
Deep Negro side.
Go ahead, Kev.
Deep Negro side.
My bad. I'm trying to get to the bottom of this echo too. My bad, y'all. But I'm not sure what that's about. Working on it. Say again.
I said, is it me?
Well, whatever it is, it seems. Nope. It's back. Nope, it's back. It's back.
I don't, but can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear. Yeah.
Okay, I get up. I so there's a comment that floats around that grinds my gears. Shout out to Peter Griffin. Um, I'm not applauding no man for doing what he's supposed to do. I and to be an educator, like much like Rich said, that analogy like hit home. And for the longest, I was a teacher who acknowledged bad kids more than I did good. Or, if they weren't bad kids, I acknowledged bad behavior more than I would good. But a point of pride last night at our spring concert was being able to honor my seniors who this is probably one of the greatest groups of kids that I'll graduate. And so to be able to like publicly praise them, which is not far from what I do on a regular, it hit home because they realized in the moment that I was acknowledging things about them that they, would have thought you wouldn't pay attention to. And so that part's important. Yes, everybody is supposed to do whatever they're supposed to do. But it does not mean that we don't acknowledge that you're doing it. Because if everybody just did what they were supposed to do, we wouldn't have half the issues that we have. Which should tell you, and we've seen it, we've heard it, we're around people. We know a lot of women who have children by, and I'm gonna only say men because the words I want to use are not the best. Men who don't take care of their kids, you know. And so, like, you've seen what it can look like when it ain't right. And so, why would you not want to continue to praise a person who, yes, is doing what they're supposed to, but they're doing what they're supposed to? Because in doing what you're supposed to, you make people's lives easier, which is a benefit to everybody. One of my favorite books. It's called How Full Is Your Bucket? And the concept of the book is acknowledging, that people need people who will correct them and like uplift them and show them areas of growth, but that has to be mixed in with like positivity and positive reinforcement, because if I'm only criticizing you, you never feel like anything is good about you. But if I'm only giving you praise, then that, it strokes the ego, but it doesn't leave an area for growth. And so, like in a lot of cases, good men are invisible because the focus is negativity across the board. We think about the stuff that goes viral. What goes viral? Fights go viral. You know what I'm saying? Like gun violence goes viral. Reality TV goes viral, which is fights and sex and drugs and all of that stuff. Everything is negative. If you have a show that's filled with, wholesomeness and family values and all of that, chances are it ain't going to do the same kind of numbers. Like people live for drama. As much as I hate it, like every fight that happens at my school, kids go gravitating towards it, but we can't get them to run to their classes. So like negativity is just what feeds this culture that we're a part of. So to truly be good in the midst of all these things, like it does make us, almost invisible. Some people will appreciate it, but not to the level of attention that negativity gets, and that really grinds my
Yeah. I cannot dispute a bit of that. I want to look at this comment real quick. Big shout out to Diamond. Big shout out to the day ones. He said all men are on the verge of an emotional renaissance breakthrough, but he feels like society isn't prepared to receive it. You both kind of alluded to that, but what are your thoughts immediately on that comment? Let's go back, Rich. What are your thoughts?
I mean, my first initial thought is I think that a lot of men are becoming more uh, emotionally conscious, aware, and I think that there is some healing taking place. I think that there's still that stigma though that we're to we're to hide those emotions um, from the public eye. When we out in the street, we supposed to be, you know, a certain kind of way, um, emotionally wise, right? We're supposed to be that non-emotional,
You're kind of stoic.
yeah, kind of stoic. But
Mhm.
and in my opinion, in a sense, we definitely have to be. We have to an extent, we have to be on guard, right?
Right.
Um, I do believe that we have to be on guard. Um, but I think there's an awareness though of like there's an awareness of those emotions. Whereas probably, years ago, maybe early 2000s, the 90s, it was like no matter what, no matter who it is. And I think now there's more of an awareness of place, time, situation, um, but also sometimes, if I'm being honest, in my opinion, I think that if left unchecked, it's going too far into that emotion stream where you are not taught how to balance that, how to know when those emotions need to come out and when to express certain emotions. And so then you start to lead your actions, your emotions start to lead your actions. And that's that. No, in my opinion, no, that's a no. You cannot let your emotions lead you. So
Right. Yeah. 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 I agree. I wondered what kind of emotion it's going to be because on the one hand, there's a lot of men that are healing from a lot of trauma and stuff like that, and that is creating a bit of stoicism. We're hearing women, none of y'all, of course, but we're hearing women complain about um, men not approaching them and men not stepping up to holler at them and stuff like that. Right? I even actually heard a video. Oh man, I wish I could find it. I even saw a video. I think it was on TikTok where this woman was complaining about not getting cat calls. She allegedly walked past a construction site and nothing. Now, I mean, the fact that she said she walked past a construction site and didn't get no cat calls. I mean, that tells me that she probably made that shit up. But let's pretend for a second that she didn't, right? Um, there's a complaint about essentially men not approaching women when for the last 30, 40, 50 some odd years we've been told not to approach women. So I just wonder what kind of an emotional renaissance it's going to be. I wonder if it's going to be, you know, uh, well, it's like if it comes from a place of men being healed, then probably men will be less willing to settle for certain things, less willing, like we saw like we talked about in the last segment with, that she had the right husband for whatever attitude. Those men that are willing to accept that are dwindling. That number of men may be dwindling, and you know, that may be a challenge that we end up having. I mean, let's be real for a second. Our birth rate already low. A couple more generations of this kind of stuff, and you know, just oh, ah, shit. I ain't even got that scene ready.
I have your answer, Trey, and this is a little bit your fault because you asked a question that has an answer. The emotional renaissance is God in therapy. Somebody give me my theme music.
Oh man, okay, I got that done in the ta-da nick of time right there. You remember Windows? Remember back in the day, Windows U95 used to start and go da-da like that? That's basically what just happened just now. All right.
There's some truth to every joke. I'm a firm believer in that. There's some truth to every joke. And one of the videos, or I'll say one of the trends that's going around right now is the wife challenge. And essentially the man has a sheet of paper that's covering another sheet of paper, and he gets his wife to he'll pull it down a little bit, and there's a word, and it's a long word, onomatopoeia, and the woman will read it. She looks down, onomatopoeia. and then he'll, oh, good job. Go to the next one. Worst whatever sauce. And she reasons, good job. And then next one, hippopotamus. Word. What I'm saying? SAT vocabulary, multi-syllable vocabulary, that kind of thing. Then he moves the paper down, and the word is sorry, and she goes, and hesitates. And then he goes, all right, cool. Goes to the next one. Next couple are, regular vocabulary words. We'll call them regular. And then he gets to another word. And the word is accountability. And she can't read that one either. And it's cute. It's real cute. Real funny. But there's some truth to every joke. That the emotional renaissance is men realizing that, like, we cannot exist in a place with people who are not accountable and can't say sorry. And so my card is it's things to consider, but it's also questions out of consideration. Consider self-esteem red flags like, now this is for us. Am I always putting my needs and desires on the back burner? Am I accommodating my partner's excuses every single time? And to me, this emotional renaissance is us being like, hey yo, like I'm tired of putting me on the back burner. I'm tired of working to exhaustion. I'm tired of not being appreciated regardless of whatever. I'm tired of like coming to you from what we discussed, a healed place, a place of like an inquisitive place, and you making that a place of your victimhood. Like, if I ask you, well, what were you, what was your thought process going into blah, 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 blah. Oh, you think I'm just like being reckless and irresponsible? But that's actually not what I said. I actually inquired so that you could explain it, and then we could have a conversation from there. If you like are the victim every time, if you can't be accountable, if you can't apologize when you're wrong, like even if it doesn't exist in the moment, if you never return to a conversation and say, hey, you know what, I thought about what you said and like I couldn't see it in the moment, but like if those things don't exist with you, this is the emotional renaissance that we're tapping into and saying, like I'm just literally not dealing with that anymore. Because if I have to sacrifice, if I have to compromise, if I have to swallow my pride, if I've got to, be the bigger person, like you can find that in you occasionally. And that's, I think that's where we are. It's a breakthrough of like, yo, we're just not like, your pretty face is not enough. You know what I'm saying? Your style, your following is not enough. Your sex is not enough.
The box is not enough. It's part of the trifecta. Sex, sandwiches, and silence, right? Not or. Not me, right? I'm my fault. What was the question again?
Consider self-esteem red flags. Like, am I always putting my needs and desires on the back burner? Am I accommodating my partner's excuses every single time? So,
Rich, jump in?
Well, listen, I'm a throw some, because I'm an alley-oopist.
Okay.
So I realize that both of you have perfect wives. So this is not something that you all deal with now. But have you ever been in a situation where you had to put your needs and desires on the back burner for a partner, and where you accommodated your partner's excuses? And what did that do like for you all? How did how did that wear on you? What did that make you feel like? How did you navigate those spaces? Because you have perfect partners now.
So all right, I'll start like this. when you are married, there is a word called compromise. There is another word that comes to mind, teamwork. There's several words that relate to making sacrifices for a period of time. I think there's a difference between sacrificing every single time or just sacrificing in general, like throwing yourself all away. I think that at times we go through different stages in life. For example, my wife works, my wife is in school, my wife has 2 kids, my wife has a husband, my wife has a house that she's trying to take care of, maintain. My wife has, right? So there's so many things, right, that my teammate is doing right now. And so there is a compromise. There are certain things that I sacrifice. There are certain needs that I sacrifice in that moment, in certain moments. And the best thing to do is to communicate and talk about those things, to talk about what you are willing to sacrifice, to talk about what does that look like, how long, what is the relief look like what does you talk about not just the what you're willing to sacrifice, but what does that look like, what is the time on this, and so that you don't bottle that up, and so that you don't build resentment, and so that you don't think that, I'm sitting up here sacrificing all of this and for what, and she's over here doing this or he's over here doing that. It's no, I mean, and if you're not willing to sacrifice, then you got some explaining to yourself to do. Like, why are you in this situation in the first place? Maybe you just need to be alone. Like, if you haven't found a person you're willing to sacrifice for, maybe that's not the person. And those are real conversations that you need to have. How has it affected me? It will affect you even after communicating those things, even after coming to decisions about certain things. It still will affect you mentally, physically, mentally. It still will affect you. But how strong are you? How because sometimes we're not strong and we need to be honest and open up and communicate. Hey, right now I need this. I know you're going, and I said I was going to sacrifice this, but right now I need. And are you communicating that? Because listen, you might think you are super strong and this, that, and the third. There's going to come a time you will be tested. So for me, yes, it has affected me. And then you need to, again, communicate those things. You need to find out how you can overcome and move forward, or what needs to change. Is there anything that can change? We're constantly the one thing I could say about me and my wife is we constantly are concerned about each other. You know, we are constantly adamant about growing together and making sure that we are on the same page. She'll tell you that I have grown with my communication a whole lot because I was not a great communicator. Even though you'll hear me say communication is the key, without it all things will fail. And I've ingrained that into my kids. I look at it, I say to them, I say communication is the key. And they'll be like, without it all things will fail, but so yes, it will affect you, and you have to. I don't want to sugarcoat it. Like, it will, and you have to find a way to overcome it. Communicate. Find that relief. Whether it's you need some personal time, whether it's you need a day, whether it's you need to plan an outing for the two of you to reconnect and recharge, get back on this, I don't even want to say the same page, but it's that getting back on that equally yoked level, because you can be on the same page, or I would say you can be on the same page number and not in the same book. You can, there's so many variations of that I could say, but it's, you got to get back equally yoked. You can't let that sit and fester.
I'm awesome. I don't deal with any of that shit. Next question. No, I'm playing. I'm kidding. So no, but ditto, first of all, to what Rich said. And I'll add to I guess just to kind of add to that, it will. This goes beyond, like, marital relationships. Like, this applies to personal relationships too, like friendships and stuff like that, right? So communication is important, but communication is I believe is for the purpose of establishing boundaries, right? And agreeing on what the boundaries are, right? If you think about, like, just how the boundaries of countries and even the states, the United States, how the boundaries of the states are drawn, they don't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? But there was an agreement on, all right, this part is your land, this part is my land, right? You know what I'm saying? So they communicated and they established boundaries. And I think that when you don't communicate and you don't establish boundaries, then people can take your kindness for weakness. And then when you reestablish boundaries after that, now the boundaries established from resentment, as opposed to boundaries established from, this is what actually benefits me and actually works for me. You know what I mean? So, and I've seen that play out in, again, romantic relationships, but I've absolutely seen that play out in friendships, right? Friendships. You know what I mean? Where you put your actual thoughts. You don't say what you really think about whatever's going on. You don't say what you really think about what that person is doing, how that person is moving, because you don't want to sever the good friendship that you have with that person, but totally disagree with how that person's moving. Right? Sometimes that takes a little bit out of you. And I don't, I think in a strong relationship, again, whether we're talking about romantic or platonic, in a strong relationship, you got to be able to communicate, what's okay and what's not. And a person that would break up with you again, romantic or platonic, over you establishing that this behavior is not okay. I don't appreciate this. Well, I mean, that's not somebody that is really honestly is not somebody that's worth your time. I think that so again, if we're talking about why or whether or not we should communicate how we feel about things, we absolutely should. Should we work through things? Yes, it's part of communication, but we also have to establish those boundaries and don't let people cross those boundaries, because that takes too much out of you emotionally, physically, mentally, like Rich was saying. Again, ditto to that. So yeah, man, I'm knowing this now, and now that I really stop and think about it, there's friendships that I've been a part of where it was like that, and I'm not perfect in real life, right? So I'm certain that there were some other people who felt that way about me too, right? But there were certainly some relationships that I could think of that where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna let you do you, because me telling you that what you're doing is silly is not going to benefit you. You're just going to reject it. You're just going to, fly off the handle, and I'm going to be the bad guy, and you're going to go do it worse and all of that. So, you know what? It's cool. I'll just be here to be your emotional support when you inevitably fail. Right? And that's a tough position to be in, and you certainly don't want to be in that position with your spouse. Right? And again, that's why communication and, respectfully saying, I don't think this is the best move, and here's why. But then, of course, the other party has to be willing to hear. They have to be willing to listen to that. You know what I'm saying? So,
Because here's why. Not this is what I said in this law. It's here's the logic to my reason.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great point, that it's not about what I say goes, what I say is law. Again, this is an agreement, right? Everything we do, it has to be an agreement, right? I personally believe that marriage is biblical, right? And so whether it's marriage again or platonic, right? How can we move forward except we be agreed? How can two move forward except to be agreed? That's in the Bible, right? So we have to agree on when, where, how we're gonna move forward in this relationship. And do you which I think talked about having courage. Do you have the courage to, walk away? Not talking about a marriage in this case necessarily. Not necessarily. Do you have the courage to walk away when certain boundaries are crossed? And I guess actually, yeah, in marriage too. Yeah, shoot, there sure better be some boundaries you better not cross. Now that I think about it, so yeah, either way, either relationship, are how do you address the situation when boundaries are crossed? And do you have the courage to walk away if we can't come to an agreement? Irreconcilable differences. Anyway,
so part of that question was talking about sacrificing needs, right, Kev? It's talking about sacrificing your needs. And the question just popped in my head. Do you know? Do you recognize? Do you realize your partner's needs? And do you take those needs into account.
It's a good point. Because if you communicate it but nobody's listening, it's a tree falling in the woods and nobody's there to hear it.
That would absolutely require you to be attentive to your partner. I think more is said in the silence than in the conversation.
About it,
like we are, in our humanity, we have tendencies, and so when you deviate from your tendencies, they're noticeable, they're palpable, and so like, please don't pay in my face when I say like, hey, I've watched you for the last 6 months. Wake up, do this, do this, do this, do this. And today you woke up and did that. That's weird. So like, whether you realize it or not, I see that about you because like I've studied you. So what are you feeling today? What happened last night to make you wake up this way today? Like, I need you to share that with me so that I can help you navigate that space. And to pretend like you aren't different is egregious at best. Because now you're not being honest with me and you're not being honest with yourself.
Right.
And to have there should be an appreciation of a person who can notice the slightest change in your behaviors and demeanors and be willing to address it at that point so that it doesn't fester into something worse than the change that happened in the moment.
That's right. And a good partner is going to know that you've changed. Like you said, but a good partner is going to recognize that you different. You move different, you sleep different, you snore different. And don't be so quick. And I'm not talking any, particular person or people, but don't be so quick to jump to the, oh, you don't trust me or you suspect something bad, da da da. No, it ain't necessarily that. I just detected something different and I'm doing a heat check. It's a temperature check. I want to make sure we still 98.6. You know what I'm saying?
A genuine concern.
Yeah.
Imagine something about your well-being.
It's real. It's real. I'm not mad. I'm not mad about it. And that's the same thing about constructive criticism too. Like, it's not about being, critical in a I hate you or I don't like you or you suck kind of way. But the first step to recovery is when acknowledging that you have a problem, right? So this is where the whole 100 men versus one gorilla or 100 women versus accountability, right? This is where that type of stuff starts to kick in. But can you acknowledge your role in whatever it is that happened? Right? Can you acknowledge that? If you can acknowledge that, then we have a business. We can start to move forward, right? But if you're what you described earlier, Kev, you can't even say I'm sorry. You can't even say, that was my fault. That was my mistake. I understand how I messed that up. You can't be honest about that. But no, we can't. At least not with me. I'm not that one. We can't move forward. We can't be. If you can't be accountable, and again, that's in any relationship, romantic or platonic. Because you certainly expect me to be accountable, whoever you are. All of you, whoever you are, expect me to be accountable. Just saying.
Shout out to my group chat because they hold me to the flame. And shout out to the bro. Shout out to the bros because we, ain't no less thans in our group.
Right.
No one's with us that ain't taking care of their kids. No with us that's stepping out on their wives. Like no, you like that ain't us.
We don't do that here.
You're not better about some people who gonna check you when you're wrong.
Yep. Yep. Can you be? Yeah. Yeah. The A word. Yes, sir. That's what it is, man. Wow. What a deviation. But that was good. That was good talk.
For sure.
Good talk. And I hope you all got something from that too. Straight up. Hope everybody got something from that. One more for the road. We got time for one more. What y'all think?
Rich?
When in Rome.
My glasses aren't empty, so.
I think I got enough for one more sip. Literally. Yep. So we almost there.
Might have been what she.
You said what?
It might have been what she said. I got time for one more sip.
Let's hope so. Let's check this one out. That's right. We're talking about it, or we got it on here anyway as an option. 100 men versus one gorilla. Or
do the gorilla
AI glasses. But Google AI got glasses that basically think for you. They say think on the go, but it basically think for you. It's like kind of like a second brain almost. Oh, and also 100 men versus one gorilla. Thoughts?
Immediately, I think the 100 men versus one gorilla is insane. The gorilla wins. The Google AI glasses, think on the go. I think I seen something about this, and to me it seemed more of a what is it? It's like thinking. I don't think it's thinking for you. More so, it's like your brain can only process, right? We're only using 10% of our brain or whatever, but like it's seeing and processing everything. And it's interesting for those that haven't seen it. I want to pick B. I want to pick the Google AI just so that people can see it if they haven't seen it, because it's crazy.
I'm rolling with you, but hear me out. It's dude's perspective and how we got to this, you know what I'm saying, gorilla hunted. It's him and his approach to the conversation. But it's whatever.
All right. Sounds like
Trey, you the tie. Trey, you the tiebreaker. And in the chat, we need y'all to, no pressure.
Come on. We got B in the comments. Ooh, y'all are making this one easy on me. I am curious to hear bro's perspective on this gorilla, but also these glasses though. We might have to do both, man.
That's gonna get my glass empty. All right. So what if we keep each one short?
All right. Let's do that. Let's do them one at a time. Let's do one at a time. Do the
sounds real monogamous.
Yeah. Hey man, listen, it's better to be that way, man. Unless you end up getting Shannon Sharpe.
Yeah.
Just saying.
That nigga's nasty.
Yeah, I mean for real. You'll sit up.
Yeah.
She said, "No means no, Shannon."
Oh my god!
You can't slide it in. Oh, Jug, you can't fit in there. Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, all right. 100 men versus a gorilla. Let's do it. Wow. I'm sorry. Wow. Club Pepe.
Hey, come on, man.
That's out of control.
So he thought that wasn't a foul? That's crazy.
Shorty did say 25K a cheat.
So put a big black baby in.
I mean, big black baby butter. $100 men versus a gorilla.
Black people be like, that silverback's gonna f them up, and I was like, I trust black people in this because it's such a white like all the white people are being like, we'd f them up, and all the black people are like, that gorilla would f them up, and I'm like, I trust black people at assessing danger more than I do white people because white people suck at assessing danger.
That is the best argument you made.
Because we always think, like Traven said it yesterday, it's like, yeah, dude, a bunch of these Joe Rogan are being like, we don't even 100. Me and my buddy on HGH, we could f this up. But when I saw a bunch of black people being like, that's silver, I was like, yeah, man, like black people have a better radar for, I don't know about that, than white people do. Like,
definitely.
Like when it comes to, I don't know about that, they score 99% on the combine test.
But I don't know about that. It's about survival.
I heard a lot of black people be like, that silverback's gonna f them up, and I was like, I trust black people in this because it's such a.
All right, y'all get it. All right. What you think, Kev? What you think, man?
Have you ever seen any scary movie ever?
Featuring black people?
Featuring black people or featuring white people. When when you hear the creak from down the hall, the white people be like, "What was that? We should go check it out." And the black people be like, "Are you out of your mind? Like, I'm gone." Yeah, like was that LL Cool J who survived? You know what I'm saying? In the
Lucy,
like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? We're making it to the end. You know why? Because we're going away from the danger. Like they going towards it, we going away from it. So, as you show me this silver, like anything that you have to house in a zoo, I'm not trying to like tussle with. You know what I'm saying? Like what conversation are we having? Has nobody ever watched Planet of the Apes? Like that ain't we not going to war with them, bro.
Oh,
I'm bringing the bananas. Like what do you need? You know what I'm saying? Let me know. Like you want fresh fruit? I got that. Like
I got
you. Know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I got that. Oh man.
Say less, Harambe. I got you.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Whole different animal, but the elephant showed up to the funeral. I'm just saying, like, if that's the way the animal kingdom is getting down, we not squaring up, bro. Like, no.
But it's 100 of y'all.
Listen to what I'm saying.
Guess what?
A silverback gorilla is like 4 of us in one.
Who
you know what I'm saying?
Who gonna get tired first? Not the
I'm
gorilla.
not taking that chance. I'm definitely
not the gorilla. Matter of fact,
not taking it. Yeah.
Matter of fact, he probably gonna tear off some limbs and use some of them 100
to
men as weapons
to beat the hell out the rest of us. So now, not only are you getting killed, but you getting killed with other people's blood.
And then you got to factor in the fact that because you've been around and you've seen, you've been around long enough to have either seen personally or heard of a group of guys or a group about to attack one person. That one person either finds the strongest person or just straight cold knocks somebody out, and the rest of the group like, oh snap, I don't want that smoke. Whoa.
True story.
Okay, let's rethink this. Yeah.
Ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the first. Okay, so me personally, the first face I see the gorilla biting off, I'm out. Yeah, so I'm not even going. Nope. I got a wife and kids. I'm retired. Yeah,
Shoot.
Yo, they arms is mad long.
The
Like they
gorilla
walk,
weighs so much. All they gotta do is roll around. He
fall.
gonna
You know what
I
I'm saying?
seen
everybody.
I seen a gorilla crack a coconut
Knock it.
like just demolish that joint.
He gonna knock everybody out.
The arms is mad. They walking on their arm, like on their fists and their feet. Like anybody who like walk with their fists on the ground. You know what I'm saying? We got boots on the ground. They got fists on the ground. You feel what I'm saying? Like we not
One punch. Them knuckles.
one punch.
Them knuckles have hardened. They've calloused real good.
They live in the jungle. We live in condominiums.
He gonna poop in his hand and start throwing it at you. You can't.
It's so many things. Like we don't stand
things.
we don't stand a chance, bro.
I think the only way we got any kind of a chance is you gotta get some Brock Lesnar, Saskatchewan, moose wrestling ass niggas. Like, and even then, I don't know, man. I don't know, man.
It would have to be at least 100 Yokozunas, okay, to like sit.
Word, okay.
A gorilla.
All right, so 47-53. We need 53 Samoans and 47.
And that's if they can get them on the ground to even sit on.
You gotta like everybody, all 100 people have to jump on at once
at the same damn time. That's the only shot
we
got.
Yeah.
That's the only shot. So what I'm saying is, what human beings have is intellect. I think. And I know.
And guess what? What if he through that?
I think people would figure something out.
Nah, again, Planet of the Apes, man, they learning. They are learning. We like as we're having this conversation, they already getting this information. Like they like, yo, hey, let me tell y'all, they're talking about us right now. So we need to be, you know what I'm saying? Like we got to get ready because they're talking about us right now. Like they know.
We jumping in the air, and the gorilla like, did these Bammers really just jump?
Yo, I can't. I'm not doing this.
He go kick. He go punch a hole. Look, listen. He go again. He go throw some poop in somebody's eye. Like it's.
Listen. 93 people will die, but the remaining 7, probably 4 Samoans and 3 Saskatchewanians. You know, that's what it is, man. You know, it's chess.
Nope.
No. Make me person 99 and I'm still walking away.
Not putting my money on it.
Squid Games, Gorilla Games. No, I wouldn't. I would probably bet on the gorillas, but I would. I'm just saying, man. You know, people got intellect, not just brute strength. I'm just
you're
saying.
Hopeful for the humans.
It's on the setting, man.
You're
Look, man. Listen. We didn't already. We didn't cage them before. We ain't had to shoot them to cage them.
But listen, Jay Owen said it. You know what I'm saying? They have a plant-based diet, and still got every muscle, like every
all the muscles.
You know what I'm saying? You be you watch them World's Strongest Man competitions. They like 2 of them. You know what I'm saying? World's Strongest Man be pulling an RV. Planet of the Apes just bite the rope and then just walk.
Word. What I'm saying is though, that's 2 of them. What I'm saying is it's 100 of these cats.
But 100 of us, you know what I'm saying? Even like 100 of the world
regular people.
Like 100 of the world's strongest men, like because even the world's strongest men, they can't even, you know what I'm saying, because of the like roids and stuff, they can't even,
they can't move,
relieve themselves in the bathroom because they can't reach. Like your arms are too big to, to aim for inside the bowl. You just gotta hope for the best. But again, the silverback is walking on his hands. You know what I'm saying? Arms is mad long. So before you can get in, you know what I'm saying? He got reach. He got reach and a silverback. What are we talking about?
Reach and a silverback.
We did.
What y'all think, man?
Smash Bros. Donkey Kong. Like, come on.
Harambe in 3.
Yeah. Harambe. Just remember, I said I'm on your side.
Harambe sweet.
Before the gorilla apocalypse takes place, I want to be clear. I said I was on your side.
We're probably gonna get took over by something. Maybe it's gonna be goddamn computers. Maybe it's gonna be that goddamn computer. Probably Google and this AI stuff. You know, I don't know. Let's see. Let's see what this one's about.
You guys may have noticed I snuck a peek back at the shelf a moment ago. I wasn't paying attention, but let's see if Gemini was. Hey, did you happen to catch the title of the white book that was on the shelf behind me?
The white book is Atomic Habits by James Clear.
That is absolutely right. So let's try something harder. I keep losing my hotel key card. Do you know where I last left the card?
The hotel key card is to the right of the music record.
Great.
For someone as forgetful as me, that's a killer app. All right, now let's see how the AI can connect the physical world with your digital content and take action.
This is my first time in Vancouver, and I love going on walks. So why don't you navigate me to a park nearby with views of the ocean?
Okay, I am starting navigation to Lighthouse Park, which has magnificent views of the Pacific Ocean. Is there anything else I can assist you with?
Honestly, with these directions and a 3D map, I should be all set, and hopefully I won't look like a tourist. So you guys may have noticed I snuck a peek back at the shelf a moment ago.
Hey Google, do you remember how many guards were inside the bank and where all the cameras were positioned?
Right.
What? I'm sorry. My bad.
Because what are we? Right. Hey,
I'm sorry.
you know.
That is illegal. Calling the cops now.
Right.
You are conspiring.
It would have to be like that. It would have to be like that.
Have me on the Hey
is-
Google. What are the winning lottery numbers going to be? Like I need that.
What is the highest probability of winning lottery numbers this week?
Yeah, that's crazy. Recording at all times, everyone, everywhere. Processing. That's
but that would make things like eyewitness testimony very different. It's like there's good and bad in this. Like there's definitely great and terrible about this. No pun intended. But there is great and terrible about this. I can see that being because hey, where did I place my key? First of all, I hate that they named it Gemini. That's a stupid name. But but hey man, where did I put my keys? Where did I put my my water bottle? Where did I put whatever, right? I think that can be very very beneficial. What was this tourist thing that we drove past? What street did we just ride on? That kind of stuff. That's kind of cool. But also I can see where that can get pretty bad.
Yeah, when how many strip clubs has he been to in the last
Listen, this right here, those things probably gonna be banned in the casino, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talking about counting cards on another level. That's
For
why
sure.
they probably those are probably gonna be banned.
Yeah.
So in other words, you better get to the table now before everybody gets hit.
Yeah, because they surely gonna be checking your nah, you're gonna have to take your glasses off before you come in. I
For
can't
sure.
see.
That's not our problem.
Right.
yeah, that's pretty bad. Let us know what y'all think about that in the comments, man. This could be pretty wild, man. Oh, yeah, this is another good point. Oh, what was that PIN number I just typed in? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get the right angle. What was that? I missed it. What was that PIN number I just typed in? Man, that could be a problem. I'm sure it won't be that simple to do some things, but these are the things that we should consider when looking at different technology. And I will say, now's the time to start looking into it. The future is here. The future is now, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's it, man. That's all we got tonight, man. I think that was good. We went a little bit over time, but hey, man, we'll take it. We had a good conversation here. Had a little bit of God and therapy, man. It was good stuff. Good talk. You know what I'm saying? I think so anyway. I think so. Kev, take us out, brother. What are your thoughts, man?
Good with y'all, man. You know, yeah, just it's been a wonderful conversation. Always good to be here. Y'all have been the absolute best audience. So hopefully everybody that's with us has hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and you told a friend to tell a friend to pull up on us. The most organic conversation on Al Gore's internet. Yeah, I'm just finding a lot of gratefulness in this season. And one more time because his viewing took place over the weekend and funeral as well. So rest in peace to Terrence Green. Praying for the fam and for the children. So we're finding more and more reasons to be appreciative of the moments that we have. And yeah, man, just love up on the people you got while you got a chance. That's all I got.
Yeah. Appreciation, definitely. Acknowledgement, affirmations, encouragement. It doesn't take much to just recognize someone. So do it. I challenge you to offer that to someone, because you never know what somebody else is going through. And wouldn't you want that for yourself? So we will see you guys next time. Thanks for joining in. Tell a friend to tell a friend, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And y'all have a good night.
The great mystery of life is the length of it. We lost a few great ones that come to mind. In addition to Terrence being, of course, the one of the more recent ones. Yeah, man. Listen, you never know when it's your time or their time, man. So show people that you love them, that you care about them, that you appreciate them. Show up for them in the best ways that you can. Because again, you just never know. You just never know. As I always say, keep your eyes and ears wide open. Believe none of what you hear and only half of what you see. Don't let the platypus control you. All right. But seriously, there's a war for your mind out here, man. So stay sharp, stay vigilant, stay skeptical, stay informed, and always question narratives. Until we meet again in about 2 weeks, everybody stay safe. Have a great weekend. Have a great next week. Stay focused on God. Get you some therapy if that's what you need, man. Let's have us a good one. We'll see you in 2 weeks. That's it. We out of here, man. Have y'all doing? Get you some rest. Give me some rest. I'll tell you that much.
You gotta rest. You gotta rest.
Platypus is a metaphor for whatever's keeping you down. Like corporations are a platypus. Government's a platypus. Your teacher is a platypus. My teacher is a panda. Society is a platypus. My parents are a platypus. The media is a platypus. All this propaganda that we all got a platypus controlling us. It's me. I stopped it nowadays. I'm not speaking metaphorically. The platypus controlling me is underneath the table. Wait, no, he's gone. Hey! There's no platypus controlling me. There's no